Hello and welcome to another vlog. We are out and about running errands, and right now we're on our way to Walmart, but I felt like debuting my new poncho today that I showed off to you guys before. So anyways, just running a few errands today, and then when we get home I'll hang out with you a little bit at home. There's really not much going on today. I don't have much of a life, I genuinely don't. But anyways, we're gonna go to Walmart and pick up a few things. I'm not gonna take you in Walmart, but I'll see you whenever I get home and we'll hang out together a little bit. Well, Larry is still in Walmart. It was really, really busy in there. And I started to kind of get a little bit of like, I don't know if it's like social anxiety or what, but I felt a little crowded out. So I came back out to the truck and thought, I'll just hang out with my friends out in the truck for a little bit. But yeah, I guess I just don't really have much. I know I keep saying that because I don't really have much to talk about because there's just nothing new going on. I'm just crocheting a lot, and I can't really talk about that on here since those tutorials aren't up yet. So I don't have anything to talk about. I have a riddle for you, a genuine riddle. Maybe some of you have heard it. I'll leave the answer in the pinned comment sometime after I post a video to give you guys a chance to try to solve this riddle. Okay. 12 pears were hanging high, and I'm talking about a fruit. One fruit called a pear. 12 pears were hanging high. 12 men came riding by. Picture it, 12 men on 12 bicycles. 12 pears were hanging high. 12 men came riding by. Each man took a pear and left 11 hanging there. Solve the riddle. I'll see you when I get home. No, I'm not live. Just vlogging, and it's recording now. Okay, so we just got home from Walmart, and I'm really excited to show you some of the things that I have been procuring lately. Some for our upcoming tutorials. 2 tutorials. I'm gonna try to get those done over the next 3 or 4 days. And then those hooks I was telling you about that I bought on Etsy and eBay, they came in. So, first things first, I got my hands on a number 7 Susan Bates inline hook. Very, very excited about that. This is a vintage hook made in USA, number 7, which is a very useful to me hook because a lot of our mystery patterns I use a number 7 hook. Yay! And I bought a little Susan Bates grippy thing for it, but it's not quite tight enough. So I think what I'm going to do is wrap some yarn around it real tight to grip it on there so that it's more comfortable to use. It came in a 2-pack. One was quite a bit bigger, and it would fit things like, this is like a 4mm hook or 4.5. So it'll fit that pretty good, and it's pretty useful, and you can take it off and reuse it. So that was cool. Here are those bone hooks. Remember I was telling you the Susan Bates bone hooks? That's it exactly right there, and that's what they look like. It looks like this one here was split. Someone cut it open and put it back in there. Well, oh, that's because it's used, I think. Yeah, I think it's used. But this is a size 6. This one here, another Luxtite, which is Bakelite. Luxtite Bakelite. And they also have their steel light hooks, which is what these are. These are the steel light hooks. So this one here is a size 4. This one here is the size 6. That doesn't mean it's a 6mm. It's just a size 6. So I have got 1, 2 is coming. There was like an auction for a thrift shop in Vermont, and they were selling a size 2. And they were only asking $6.99. I bid 1 cent more to $7, and I won that auction. So that should be here in a few days. So I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's basically what I have. Here they all are. So excited because this year it came out, I took it out of this packaging. This year, I'd really like to try to use vintage hooks a lot more, or should I say, yeah, vintage hooks. I almost was going to talk about the whole crochet needle thing. I'm going to be referring to them as needles, crochet needles, and I would definitely like to use vintage. And this jar, with the exception of a few that are not vintage, is all full of vintage hooks. I have just been, some of you have been sending me some of your old vintage hooks, and I have been purchasing some sizes that I didn't previously have. So there we go. Working on all of that. I got this in the mail today. And whenever I do the tutorial where I use this, I'm going to leave a link for this. This is sort of like a pipsqueak yarn, but it's much thinner, much thinner. You have to use it with another yarn, but this is going to go for our 1930s pattern. Aren't you intrigued? You should be intrigued. I got 4 of them. It's likely too much, but you never know. So I got 4 of them. My only concern is I may have to get one more of these. This is Patons, and I think Patons and, oh, I forget the name of it. Well, I have it right here. Right here. This is Patons and Baldwins, right? I think it's a Canadian brand. I think this all comes out of Canada. And I think Patons and Baldwin is now just Patons. And because I was looking up Patons and Baldwin patterns, and they were talking about this beehive yarn. And so I got some beehive yarn from Patons that I think is formerly Patons and Baldwin. And is this from Canada? Let me see. I really think it might be. This is called Baby Gray. It's very soft. This is also going to be used with our 1930s pattern. I'm not seeing, surely they're going to say where they're from. Surely that's on the package. Yes, Canada. Yes. It just says, I can't tell. I can't exactly tell where it's from, but it does say Canada. So it's a Canada brand, Canada Patterns. That's very exciting. So let me show you our colors for this 1930s pattern that I have coming up. Going to use this dark green. It did call for a dark gray. I don't have a dark gray in the weight of yarn that they need, but I did have this dark green and this light gray along with this light gray pipsqueak. I'm calling it pipsqueak because it reminds me of the pipsqueak yarn, but this sort of like fuzzy teddy bear yarn. This is what's going to be for our 1930s project. And then the vintage, I believe it's early 1980s, like 1980, 81. We have this and the white or the burgundy Merlot color little flowers. I hope you guys are intrigued because I have some really fun stuff coming up for us. And of course, I will be utilizing my old vintage hooks. I have been utilizing one Susan Bates steel inline hook, making these flowers with it, and I will be making the rest of it with this vintage hook right here. I was really hoping I would be able to get this to fit on there, and it's still not quite tight enough. So I am gonna have to just really tightly wrap some yarn around there to squeeze it on so that I can use this, because I was getting a little bit of hand fatigue here and here, making all those flowers with this, but I want to start using the vintage hooks. I really just want to be an all-encompassing vintage channel. You know, of course, there's going to be a lot of times I'll need to use my modern hooks because some of these vintage hooks are just not good quality. You know, like, which hook was it? Like this hook I was trying to use the other day on the pattern for this. I already made this. See, I'm making it 2 different ways. One with this sort of specialty yarn, and then I went another way. I already made it without the specialty yarn for those who can't get their hands on that yarn. That way they can see it both ways. And I was trying to use this vintage 4mm hook. It snagged. It snagged every stitch, every single stitch. It's not a good hook. So there are going to be times whenever I can't really use the vintage hooks just because they're just not that good. I do enjoy having them though. I have work to do now. Now it's just a matter of which one do I do first? Do I do this first or do I do this first? I'm excited about both. I want to do them at the same time. I think because I'm looking at the one I already made. It's sitting right there. I think because I already made that one in regular yarn, and that pattern is so fresh on my brain, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Film that for you guys. So now you have the insider secrets. When you see that tutorial go up, you'll be like, I know she made that one first. I watched her make that decision. This is that Elise Diva silk effect I was telling you guys about. That's that like burgundy Merlot color. This is going to be gorgeous. I really think you guys are going to be excited about what we have coming up in 2024 because I am. Okay, guys, I will see you real soon. I have a lot of work to do. I may not get back on here today because I'm just going to bust butt. So maybe, I don't know, maybe whenever I burn myself out for the day, I'll jump on and let you know my progress. I won't be able to show you my progress. All I can do is talk about it. But, oh my God, I cannot wait for you guys to see what we have coming up. I'm so excited. And the mystery patterns are freaking exciting too. Okay, I'll see you guys real soon. Bye. Hello. Okay, so today is January 10th, so it's been a couple of days since I last jumped on here with you, and I am happy to say it's finally cold in Arizona. It's finally cold. I only turn the heat on at night because, as we all know, across the board, the US, Europe, everywhere, gas prices, like for heating your home, gas prices are crazy high. So I'm trying to see if I can't, give my pocketbook a little bit of a break this year, because last year we weren't expecting the gas prices to be that high. It was sort of sprung on us. And our first gas bill of last year was, typically our gas bill is about $20, $25. In the summertime, it's around $13 to $17. So whenever I got my first gas bill last year, it was like in the upper 60s. Like that is a huge markup. And we really didn't think, we didn't, some people are just not smart, And so we really didn't start curbing our natural gas usage in the following month. And our next gas bill it soared way over 100. It was like $120 or $130. It was obnoxious. So this year, we're going to be a little smarter about it. We just turn the heat on whenever the sun goes down. At some point after the sun goes down, whenever it gets cold enough that a blanket doesn't help anymore. Isn't that terrible? But that's what you have to do. Anyways, just wanted to come on here and say hello. And I got, where is it? There it is. Something else I want to incorporate in the vintage channel this year, because I find it to be incredibly helpful, and I think a lot of other people will too, especially those who have only been crocheting for a few years. It's the wraps per inch. I picked this little thing up on Etsy. I mean, you can obviously just use your house ruler, but this was like $2 on Etsy with like $2 or $3 shipping. So total of $5, and it is handmade. But it's just a little wraps per inch deal. What I like about it is that it has the little walls up, so it holds your yarn. But I think I want to incorporate in patterns and in tutorials. I haven't done it yet, and I've already made 5 or 6 tutorials for the year so far for the starting in February. So it'll be after that, since I did just receive it. But I think it might help a lot of people everywhere, here in the US and other countries in Australia, India, Europe, South America. If they could know how many wraps per inch this really elusive vintage required thread and yarn is, because that helps me a lot. I notice whenever I am trying to figure out what yarn do I need for this, 1940s pattern or 1930s pattern, I can go to Ravelry, and about half the time the vintage yarn is listed in Ravelry, but what I find to be so incredibly helpful for me to figure out what today's equivalent is somebody is kind enough to note the wraps per inch for that particular type of material that was used 75 years ago. So I am going to start incorporating wraps per inch because I really think it's helpful. It's universal. Everybody knows what an inch is. Everybody has an inch on a ruler. So I just think it's going to be super helpful to be able to incorporate wraps per inch. And my collection is certainly growing. I got a lot of this stuff really wasn't expensive, you guys. It seems like I'm just doing like crazy amounts of shopping, spending hundreds of dollars. No, I'm spending tens of dollars, tens. eBay, Etsy, Mercari. These places are great for finding the vintage goods as far as the hook goes. I found these Susan Bates Quicksilver Tunisian hooks in different lengths and different sizes. They are vintage, very nice, made in USA. I mean, that right there is your dead giveaway that they're vintage. But these are just really nice. And like I had said before, this year on the channel is going to be a bit different. We're definitely going to, look how beautiful these hooks are. I love those inline hooks. They're very lightweight. It feels like they are a light aluminum with some kind of a plastic coating, or not plastic, but almost an enamel, almost like a thin enamel coating. I like it. There you go. You can find these. These are still readily available everywhere. You just have to go to the aftermarket sites. So Mercari is one. I like to go on Mercari to find a lot, because Mercari, you can bargain with those sellers. So Mercari, Etsy is probably going to be the most pricey of all the places, but sometimes that one hook you're looking for is nowhere else but on Etsy. And of course, eBay. eBay is great because you can also, if the option is available, which most of the time the option is available on eBay, to offer a price that you're willing to pay, a lot of these people will go ahead and take it, because these aren't people who are in the market of selling antiques and collectibles. These are typically online thrift shops. So if you see a hook on there and they're asking $12 for it, you can probably bump the price down to $8 or $9, and they'll be like, yeah, okay, that's cool, I'll take it, because they just want to flip it and make a profit of some kind. A lot of times on eBay, what you will find is these eBay sellers, they are thrift sellers, junk sellers. They will buy storage units. They will go to estate auctions and things of that nature. And a lot of the Etsy online thrift shops are the same way. And so they don't really care about the hook itself. Maybe they don't even know much about the hook. They don't know that it's bone, so they market it as plastic or Bakelite even, not realizing there's no maker's mark, there's no size indicator, there's nothing on it. It clearly looks carved. It's highly likely it's bone. And they're offering it for $8, or maybe they're selling a whole mess of hooks. They'll sell you a whole mess of hooks. And the price is like $20, for 45 hooks. And yeah, maybe you don't need like 60% of those hooks, but 40% of those hooks are going to be pretty cool. You're going to find something very, very cool. And that is precisely what happened whenever I found that hand-carved hook, also this one, and two of these Susan Bates steel inline hooks that are from like the 40s or 50s. So yeah, I didn't pay $20. Actually, I paid $14 for, I think it was 22 pieces, and it was free shipping. Within the US, it was free shipping. Not all eBay sellers do that. So I felt really happy to find that, because 90% of the time I pay shipping. But yeah, like I found a eBay thrift shop that must have got these out of a storage unit or an estate sale or something. They were all together, and they were selling them individually. They were selling them for, I think, $4 a piece or $5 a piece, which is probably about cheaper than what they're selling for new. But I bought the whole lot. Is that all of them? Yeah, I bought 4. I bought the whole lot that they had. And I did have to pay shipping, but to me it's worth it because the payoff is going to be I actually genuinely get to make vintage makes with vintage tools. And if I'm lucky, you know, at least half the time I get to use vintage yarn or threads as well. And that's largely thanks to a lot of you. But yeah, I have been hitting up. Oh, just a moment. I'm pulling my Tunisian hooks out. So the ones in here that are vintage, this is a vintage hook. It very well could be vintage from the 80s, but it's Susan Bates. I love the inline. So I picked that up recently, and I got as a gift, let's see here. This one was a gift from a viewer, and it is vintage. I believe it's Boy. And is this the same? These are different. These are both size 8, but they are different colors. One is silver and one is green, probably because they were from different years. See here. This is vintage. It's a 2-sided hook, but this also was a gift from a viewer. And the rest of these, no, one of these was a gift, but it's not vintage. Other than that, these are the only Tunisian hooks I ever purchased. So that's my microwave. Pardon the beeping. So all the rest of them are vintage. And today I received, I'm keeping all of these separate. So these are, you're going to see me using these a lot more on the channel. I'm going to try to start using more of the vintage hooks, the vintage plastic hooks from the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. There's another one. This is one of those ones that's really narrow. It's inline. I think that's inline, isn't it? Isn't that what inline is? This might be more of tapered. I think this might be more of a tapered, but it also has that thin, flat head. But I want to use, I need to get my hands on a couple of those hero hooks too. I keep seeing everybody go gaga over them. I think Bag O' might have started a trend with people going kind of, because now even on eBay, the hero hooks, that's all it takes is for an influencer or some form of a celebrity to say something about an item and the price goes up. So let's tell Crystal to stop talking about hero hooks because the price is too high now. I'm just teasing. Here's a whole set of the 50s, 60s, and 70s pastel colored plastic hooks. So I will be using a lot more of these. But yeah, the eBay and Etsy sellers are asking stupid prices for hero hooks now. A couple of years ago, you could probably get your hands on a hero hook for maybe $6, $7, or even $8, maybe even $10 or $12. But now they're asking $30 and $40 for one hook because one YouTube celebrity in the crochet world mentioned them, and that's literally all it takes. And it's not Crystal's fault. She was asked a question and she graciously answered. The market, on the other hand, responded. So hero hooks are really expensive. Sometimes you get lucky and you'll find someone selling a group of hooks, right? 20, 30, 40 hooks. They'll ask maybe $40 for the whole group, and there might be 1 or 2 hero hooks in there. And so that these days would be a happy find, considering some of these, most of these sellers are asking between $25 and $40 for one hero hook. So I have no intentions of buying one anytime soon. Hopefully the market goes down on them, that or they all get bought up and there's none available. But I'm not paying $40 for a crochet hook, not unless it's 150 years old. Let's see here. What do we have? There was something else I wanted to show you. Oh, my bone and Bone-A-Lite, Bake-A-Lite bone hook collection is coming together. I have more bone hooks coming, by the way, from England. These are handmade bone hooks from the Victorian era. I need to go back and check what the seller says about where they picked The sellers are saying where they're picking up these hooks from and how old they believe them to be. And all of them are are older than 1880. So I have 5 or 6 hooks coming, and they were fairly reasonably priced, but that is largely thanks to the fact that Etsy right now, even more than eBay, has a massive bone hook market. There's a lot of them. So that helps to keep the prices somewhat reasonable. I bought a set of 3 bone hooks. I paid $19 plus shipping, of course, and I would expect to pay shipping because they are coming from England. It's not cheap. So I think I paid, sellers, they are usually comped pretty good prices from either Royal Mail or here in the US, USPS. If you have a business, you can get comped a pretty reasonable price from these companies, these businesses. Or should I say entities, because they're not technically businesses. So the shipping was only like $15, which really wasn't bad. Now I know altogether that's like $35, but that's an investment into a collectible, a usable collectible. So I will be using these hooks on the channel. I, of course, will take care of them, and I won't cinch, I won't make a slip knot and cinch it up on the hook and possibly snap it or anything like that. I will make sure to take care of them, but they must be used. They need to be used. And then another seller, I picked up 2 hooks for, again, I think it was about the same price. No, it was cheaper. It was like $13 or $15. But again, I had to pay like $15 for shipping. But to me, these 5 hooks are a worthy investment. So that's the most I spent on hooks. Bear in mind, again, going back to Hero, I was willing to spend that much for hooks that were at least date to the 1870s or the 1860s, right? And the cost of all 5 of those hooks is just a little more than what some of these sellers are trying to sell one Hero hook for. Come on, it's genuinely like a boy hook. It really isn't much different than a boy hook. And again, that's no shade to the hook. I'm pretty sure the quality is better than boy because we know how boy is. They can have twisted heads. They can have metal knots and raised seams on there that can snag your yarn. And they're typically very inconsistent with their taper. So likely Hero is just a way better quality. But I think that they're just going a little overboard with the pricing. But here we go. I have all these now, with the exception of this one that was, I believe, hand carved, handmade. There's nothing on it. And it's not really a very good hook. Part of me wants to take my nail file and fix the head of it just a little bit there so it would quit snagging everything. But here are all of the Susan Bates inline steel hooks I have, just 4 now, but these are the 4 most useful to me sizes. And they are 2, 7, 6, and 8. Okay, and here are my, well, that one there is actually bone. But here are the fake bone hooks, the Bakelite hooks from Susan Bates. And this one here, I shouldn't have blended it with that one. This is actually real bone. Look, it's bent. I don't know if you can see that. It's bent. My other real bone hook is also bent. I think that happens with time. I think this one here is a bovine hook, whereas I think the one from the 1880s that I have is actually a whalebone hook. The color is a little bit different. This one here is a little brighter whiter, which tells me it's probably bovine. This one here is a little duller and a little more amber looking. They are both bent. I don't know how easy that is going to be for you to see. Let's see if I can separate this. Let me get something dark in the background. See if this is easy. This seems to happen with the bone hooks. We'll see what happens with the ones I get from England. But as I twist it, maybe you can see how they're bent. I'm not sure if you can see that. See how it's like curved. This one here is curving sort of back this way and then slightly off to the side this way. And this one here is curving this way. It's fine up and down, but it is curving this way. This one is a struggle to use. This is the first bone hook I bought. This one here was labeled from the 1880s. This one here, I have no idea how old this one is, but it's much easier to use. In fact, it's quite usable, even though it's bent. I worked up a swatch with it, and it was just fine. And it made beautiful stitches. It made really beautiful stitches. And I used a thread that was really too big for it, or a yarn that was too big for it. So this is my newest one. I don't have a clue how old this one is at all, but you can see how it is just, it's bowing this way and it is bowing this way. Still usable. This one snags everything. They're both hand carved, but this one is just, it's kind of got a chipped on the end there, and it snags everything. Plus the head is turned this way, so it just doesn't hook right. The oldest one I have, or the first one I bought, because I think the ones I have coming from England are actually going to be my oldest bone hooks that I will have. So this one, I must have put it in here because it's usable. So yeah, I think I did put that in there because it's usable, whereas that one is not usable. It's collectible. Okay, going on and on about hooks lately. Well, it's, you know, besides watching World War II stuff, this is what I've been into. I really, really want to take the vintage channel vintage, like vintage. And you might note behind me is a pile of a lot of the things that we made last year. I am planning on making a fun little video with all of that. You guys will be able to enjoy that very soon. I am going to go make myself something to eat as the microwave keeps calling my name, and then I will jump on here again with you guys. I am making something right now, but it is time consuming. My gosh, I'll just hold this part up. I have been working on this. Today is day 3 of crocheting this. Like, it doesn't seem like, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't seem like it would be something that would take that long whenever you see what our pattern is. But my goodness, it's like I just keep adding rows and it doesn't seem to be getting any bigger. It's one of those where it just doesn't grow. Of course, this is going to have to be blocked. But it's just driving me crazy because it really, truly doesn't seem like it's getting any bigger. It feels like it's never ending. And at first, I was using the number 2 steel hook with this, but it was making the stitches a little too small. So I did switch over to a modern hook with that. And that's likely going to happen throughout the year as well. So I won't always be 100% able to commit if the hooks that are recommended don't blend with the modern yarn I have to use. So I was not able to use the number 2, which is a 2.25 millimeter. All right, I'm going to go eat something, and then I'll jump back on here with you guys after I eat. Okay, so I had my dinner, and I did look up those hooks. The seller said that, well, it was 2 different sellers, and they both essentially said the same thing, that they were Victorian era, mid-century Victorian era. So, I mean, that can be anywhere from 1840s to 1880s, I think. So pretty broad range, but they do come from England, and I'm very excited about that. So yes, look forward to actual vintage hooks when I can use them. Not all vintage hooks are very user-friendly. You're tilted, I think. What that means is they just don't work well anymore. And I know that one of the hooks that I'm getting, because it was a set of 3, has kind of a snaggle tooth for a hook head. So it's likely not going to be usable. And also sometimes they just don't play along well with our modern yarn sizes. So there is that. But anyways, okay, so I've pretty much done 2 vlogs where I just sat mostly in the same spot. I'm going to start making another vlog again right away. I will be picking up my wig on Friday. And so I'm going to play with my new wig. Oh, also another company reached out to me and asked me if I would review one of their synthetic fiber wigs. And so I agreed to that because just like with Wigshi, they did not tell me that I had to say anything specific. They did not give me a script. They did not say, make sure it's nice. All they asked for was a minimum of 10 minutes, 2 shorts, and to make sure that I do indoor and outdoor shots, because, oh, and no filters. So they want to make sure that it's not filtered and that there is some outdoor lighting on the wig, some indoor lighting, and just give it a review, wear it around and see what I think of it. And there's no money exchanged or anything like that. They're simply providing the wig. They're not providing me with any cash or anything like that. So I'm interested to see how this one will turn out, as it definitely leans more blonde. But they only gave me a choice of five pieces to choose from, and all of them were basically blonde. So I picked the darkest of the blondes, where it has some like brown mixed in. But it does look like it's going to be more of a blonde leaning wig. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. So look forward to that really soon. You know, I love playing with wigs and reviewing wigs too. And of course, I cannot wait to get my Wig She wig back from the beauty salon this Friday. I'm super excited about that. Either Friday or Saturday, I'm going to pick it up, but I'm super excited about that. And of course, I'll jump on camera and show it off, and anything else new that I might have got, or maybe I might have something actually interesting to say in the next vlog. I don't know, but I will see you guys in the next one. And look on the vintage channel, look for that silly video that I'm making that that involves this stuff. Bye.